the confident predictions of the pundits, like, for example, me, about the outcome of the healthcare case turned out to be quite wrong. So, I mean, that is a very important case, very high-profile case where, you know, Chief Justice Roberts, for the first and I think and I guess only time, you know, sided with the 4 liberals to uphold the law. You know, I don't think oral argument was what turned it, but it was a I mean, it was an unpredictable result, certainly for a lot of people.
If you check back Newsmax in March of that year, I actually predicted a 6-3 victory for. I predicted that Kennedy would write the decision, but I thought that Roberts would go along with it because he'd want to assign the decision. Roberts is very political, and what he did by writing the decision the way he did is, number one, he gave himself a lot of street cred or court cred, which will allow him to render very conservative decisions for a long period of time without being regarded as the 5-4 guy who always votes Republican the way Rehnquist was in many ways. He was also able to stick it in some ways to Obama by calling it a tax. It's a tax. That's a terrible thing to say about something politically when the president has run for office saying he would never impose a tax for health care. And third of all, it gave him an opportunity to have an expansive approach to narrowing the Commerce Clause. So for him, it was a win-win-win. And it helped preserve the integrity of the court, helped preserve his own reputation. But I've read the oral argument, I've read your account of the oral argument, which is a brilliant account of the oral argument, and the way the Solicitor General first looked like he was the goat and then emerged somewhat as the hero. By the way, if any of you have not read The Oath, you must read it. It's a great read. It's an exciting story. It's really drama. And you will learn more about the Supreme Court reading the book than you will if you read law school case books. So please read the book. It's really, really a great book. And in the book, you make, I think, have a terrific description of the role of the Supreme Court in that case, but it reified my view of oral argument and brief writing not really having an impact on the outcome.
I don't think the oral argument or the brief writing had an impact much. I mean, also, I think it's worth pointing out, and I think Alan's description of Roberts' motivations is basically right, but I also think it's worth pausing to just recognize what a radical argument it was to try to have this healthcare law overturned.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, remember, this was an idea that had been around for 20-plus years, the individual mandate. That was the heart of the controversy, the requirement that people buy health insurance in the way that states require people to buy car insurance. And this was an idea that came out of the Heritage Foundation, you know, conservative foundation in Washington. Newt Gingrich was a big backer of the law. A former governor of Massachusetts named Mitt Romney, who you may remember, he was also a big supporter of the law. And for 20-plus years, this idea circulated in Washington. And not once did anyone ever suggest that it was unconstitutional. Suddenly, Barack Obama, you know, makes the individual mandate the heart of his proposal. And this idea that it's unconstitutional materializes out of thin air in the Federalist Society. And you know, the echo chamber of conservative thought starts to, you know, send it around the country, and suddenly courts start declaring it unconstitutional. But I think Roberts, very much to his credit, recognized that you do not stake the credibility of the Supreme Court on an argument this thin and this new. And he did not, last June 25th, suddenly discover his inner moderate. You know, he remains very conservative. Oh, sure. And as you suggest, he has a very free hand now